Oh, how to build a pub.
Hello and welcome to the Build a Pub podcast. We're back after a short hiatus to finish a degree I want nothing to do with. That was 3 years and 40 grand well spent. But now I can focus on chatting to my friends about the pub. Today I'm joined by Charles Michael. I'm very excited to have a nice natter with him about all things beer, wine and spirit. But please drink responsibly and enjoy this episode somewhere in the 20s of the Build Pub podcast.
Oh, how to build a pub.
And we're back. I'm grateful to be joined by a man with a voice only second to that of Brian Blessed. He's a terrific friend, cooker of cheesecake, an ancient history enthusiast. It's good old Mr. Two First Names. It's Charles Michael. Charles, how are you doing? And has your life peaked now that you've got onto the podcast?
I'm doing well. I think it has peaked, although one minor comment, that cheesecake was a no-bake cheesecake.
Oh, what does that mean? So you didn't actually...
Oh, no cooking involved in that. You just mix the cream cheese up. Takes much less time, let me tell you.
How is the cooking going? You're doing like a meal thing, haven't you? You're on did you get like a, what's it called, like a subscription to it?
No, I've considered things like that, but all the best ones are American, you know.
Yeah.
These, kits you can get. No, I just kind of like cook where I can, but I do try and cook like a lot of different foods, you know. I like to cook. I try and cook a new meal every week is what I try doing. I don't always keep up with it, but, you know, I made the effort. That's a big thing I cook. I made a very nice mac and cheese at the end of last week.
Do you want to know something that's horrific? I've never had a mac and cheese in my life that I can think of. Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm happy to make you a mac and cheese sometime. I've got a really good... there's a easiest way you can do a mac and cheese is you get about 8 ounces of pasta, put that in, and you want to put that in with a pan of 2 cups, 1 cup of water and 1.5 cups of milk.
Oh, okay.
So you mix that together in the pan, and then you just boil that, and basically that's the perfect amount where it all just evaporates into the pasta, makes it nice and creamy, and you just put your cheese in, stir it together, turn off the heat, and you're done.
Bon appetit. I mean, this is not the direction I expected the show to go, but I'm very glad it did. But as you know, Charles, no meal is complete without a lovely drink to bring it all together. I'm very good at the segues.
That's good. No, I appreciate it. I'm someone who goes off on tangents, so please exercise.
No, that is very good, because I have very little to say that hasn't already been said, so it's all about you, sir. First question I have for you, it's not on the brief, but what is the pub to you? It's quite an abstract question, but what comes to mind?
Phil, we're getting quite deep here already. You know what, the pub to me is just it's a social space, and I'm quite into my socials because you know I do for the listeners who perhaps don't know me. I am currently studying a postgraduate masters in museum studies, and I've done a lot of kind of learning on the social space as an aspect of society. And I think it's a really important one, like, you know, whether the parks, museums, libraries, these places that, you know, people just kind of congregate to and come in and just like exist as a community. And like a local community space, I think, is more important. And a pub within kind of like the British psyche, our culture, I think that's like such a hugely important cultural and kind of community space. So yeah, to pub to me is just like it's one of those linchpins of local communities where you can just come together with friends, with even strangers. You know, I've met so many, you know, people in pubs I've just had nice conversations with, you know, made friends with locals I didn't know before. You know, you can just come to there and you can experience like the local community there.
I completely agree with you. I was going to a pub recently with a friend of mine since I've been home, and he started working at this pub. And we just went in for drinks, the two of us. And the amount of people just coming back past him saying hello, saying hi, like checking in, like it is a real community thing, the pub.
Yeah.
What I've noticed is, and you might disagree with me, but because so many things have been closed and the first thing really to open in England with COVID and lockdown has been the pubs, I feel like socialising is now very, very much like stuck together with drinking. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that, because I feel like the only way you can... I mean, obviously you can do other things, go on walks and such, but I feel like now there's not much else you can do but drink, and I don't know if that's the healthiest option.
No, I know what you mean. We're still in a place where kind of like things are, the things that have been opened first are basically like the restaurants and the pubs and the cafes. And I feel actually kind of you're hitting a nail, but like a kind of a deeper nail. I just think we're British, like, I don't think this is changing, but I think there's a big part in British culture where alcohol is just so kind of inherent to the cultural life anyway.
Yeah.
Like, alcohol, I think, has always been such a large part of kind of British culture. And I'm someone who likes a drink, so I don't mind that. But, I do, you're right. Like, there are people who, are completely teetotalers, however you pronounce that word. That's very fair enough. And more people, I think, are preferring to have these places where you can just gather and meet without drinking. And yeah, I think it's very much kind of a lot of places, the social places that are open right now are the place where, you kind of are expected to have a drink, I guess, unless you go to somewhere like a cafe.
Yeah.
And again, that's like a kind of a long running, I think, issue is that, most of the community kind of social spaces that we have are more and more like the commercialised ones, like as kind of funding drops for places like libraries or like parks or whatever,
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying because of what you said earlier about
spaces,
about like all these spaces you mentioned. Like, I just feel like they're dying away, and then as I said, there's less options.
I won't get too political on the pod, but that's I think something that is a problem and that's happening. And so we have to, I think, consider when I say that the pub is a great communal space. There are obviously people who are, for very good reasons, not comfortable going there.
That being said,
we are here. This is a pro pub podcast.
Absolutely. Well, no, now you can build a pub any way you want that might be able to tackle all these issues. Who knows? Last thing before we get onto the actual pub itself, I like to keep a tally. I just find it interesting. Of the most expensive drinks people have, I'm a northerner, as you very well know, so I'm used to very cheap drinks, and so I get rather shocked when I hear about some of the things, some of the cocktails, some of the beers people have got in London and down south. So what would you say is the most expensive drink that you can remember buying?
Well, that's the thing. I'm similar from you. I mean, I tell people that the cheapest pint I could buy at home, like the regular pub I went to, was the Mail. There's a shit pub I went to regularly. That was like the proper kind of local, with all the geezers would congregate at. Yeah. You get a pint of John Brown there for $1.65. I tell that to some of them. They look at me like in shock. In awe. Yeah, I can't remember the most expensive, but I have been to I've not been to London too many times. I have been before, and I go to the bar and buy a pint. How much? Like a £5 for a pint or something more. And I'm like, you just think to yourself, I could just pop the Tesco and buy like a 4-pack
for the same price. I know it's so painful to watch. Are you from Wales? You are from Wales, aren't you, Charles?
I am from Wales. I'm from North Wales, which is decidedly rare. Most everyone else I interact with seems to be from South Wales.
I know that there's very cheap pints Wales ways. Do you have Brains much? Is that right, Brains?
Brains?
I think it's a Welsh drink that you get in Cardiff. I might be getting it wrong, but I've heard that Brains is like a little...
Cardiff... It's South Wales and North Wales has
very
a surprisingly strong cultural divide. It is a bit like North and South England.
Oh, really?
There's similarities there.
Oh, quite.
Also, North Wales is much more anglicised.
Yeah. So it's more like, so it's basically, because that's true actually, like you do feel like Cardiff is just very much like a Birmingham or a Manchester now.
Yeah. There's a lot of especially Liverpudlian influence, I think, on North Wales.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I couldn't tell you anything about Brains, but I'm used to cheaper pints. That I can.
Well, I'm hoping that you'll bring that into your pub because that is something that I'm truly passionate about, Charles. But yeah, let's cut the chitter chatter. You are here to build a pub. You are here to, in fact, pitch your dream pub. Now, obviously, when you're pitching, you need an investor. You need someone maybe that you admire or that you think they have a good business sense who is going to, you think will work for your pub and you think that you can persuade to finance this dream project of yours, which is already built. The concept's not great, Charles, but just roll with it. So, my first question to you is, who are you pitching this pub to?
Number one person I'd want to pitch a pub to. Because because I have like a serious and then kind of like the one person I'd love to have as the boss of me. And so because I think on the serious pub, like, gather around a bunch of, that's the type of pub I love, is like the local pub, as I was saying, local pub, gather around. One of the pubs couple of pubs back in Conway are like they're collectively owned by a series of local microbreweries. I've always liked that. But if I'm thinking I'm going to a big rich person and asking them to fund the pub, I reckon someone like Tim Curry.
Tim Curry. I know the name. Yeah, Tim Curry, the actor.
Yes, Tim Curry, the actor of Rocky Horror.
Rocky Horror. It.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Home Alone. One of them he was in, I swear.
Yeah. Muppet Treasure Island.
Yeah, he's I very much got Tim Curry in my head now. Why Tim Curry, Charles?
I think he seems to be, because I think like, I want an old, big old, like, stand-up British actor, I reckon, like, type of person who could come into the pub and, bring us some, fame. And I reckon Tim Curry would be the type of guy to like a good kind of, like, fun pub. He was, you look at him, Rocky Horror Picture Show, he was there in London. He's the type of guy who, loves a good, I think, like, gritty, serious kind of, not gritty, serious, but he's there to have, like, a fun time. Tim Curry is. He seems like a fun guy.
I think you got it right with the name. I feel like if Tim Curry owned a pub, I feel like all of the socialites would just come crawling, because I feel like he's one of those names that would gather a big following, a big crowd. So I think it's a very, very smart decision first off. So let's see. Mr. Curry arrives in his Bugatti Veyron, which he notoriously drives, outside your pub.
I'm not sure he drives anything anymore after his strokes.
Oh, God.
I didn't mean that as a joke.
No, to be fair. This is my problem. I know so little about the world that I'm just the wrong person to, like, wait till we get onto the drinks. You will say so many drinks, I'll be like, great, I have no idea. Like,
Stop, so have fun with this.
This is why it's so great. I literally, when I did this back in the day, my red wine was communion wine from church. Like, I know nothing. I'm, like, literally the wrong person. We might switch roles halfway through, because I feel like you know your stuff. But
sorry. Anyway, Tim Curry has regained the ability to drive safely again.
Yes, and he steps out of his Bugatti Veyron, as we have established. And the first thing he sees, obviously, is your pub. Like the outside of your pub, which is very important. It needs to be attractive. It needs to gain people's attention. So he steps out. He sees the outside of the pub, and slap bang in the middle, above the door, is the name of the pub. I would like you to kind of describe what me as Tim Curry is seeing, and also the name.
So I was thinking name. I thought I didn't want to come up with a specific name, because I thought I would like to talk about perhaps the philosophy I might have behind the name. I was thinking what my favourite pub names are. I like an esoteric pub name. I like a pub name that sounds like it has meaning, but it doesn't. And also like two things together. So something like, I don't know, the Axe and Dog.
I like that. Yeah.
Or it was a great pub I saw down in South England called the King in Prussia, and I thought that's a pub name. Something like weird and identifiable.
Yeah.
Like some kind of like, probably some like weird history undertones in there that people will go, ooh, maybe that tells a story. It doesn't, of course. I just made it up. But something that makes the pub sound sophisticated. We're catfishing people with the pub name, basically. This is a catfish operation.
And once again, I feel like a Tim Curry would have it would be an historic name. Do you know what I mean? Like it would be, would catch. It's trying to, you're trying to catfish those type of people. That very big, pretentious audience of people who are like, oh my God, we're going to the King in Prussia.
I don't. I could get those in. I would be happy to wrangle them out of their money, but I'd also, I don't want my audience to be too pot people. I want a nice.
You want your locals.
Nice people in my pub. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that is what a pub should be. It is a shame, so many getting taken over recently. One near me just been taken over. I had Daisy Stone on, and she, I think her village was trying to actually buy their pub, similar to what you were saying about the microbreweries, because that had just gone out of business, and that's like the only pub in their village. A bit of a dying breed, unfortunately, but that's why Charles Michael's here to save it. So what is it looking like? Do you want kind of like a Tudor build? What are you fancying it? Is it a bit more modern?
No, I don't much like a modern pub. I do like an older pub with like an older feel, like a kind of like darker woods, you know, you come inside, you know, there's some normal tables somewhere, but you might have there might be a room with some like nice leather armchairs, you know, something like that. Like, you don't want everywhere to be like, ooh, leather armchairs and bookshelves. You want like a couple different sections, I reckon. You know, a nice non-pretentious but fairly simple and rustic area.
Yeah.
And then maybe some areas that are a bit more refined, you know, like a nice back room.
Well, I think as Tim steps out of his Bugatti Veyron, having the ability to drive, he stares at this pub and he thinks, you know what? I've got it already. It's traditional. It's got a name that we haven't completely decided on yet, but it's going to capture people. And it's the local, and that's what a pub is at the end of the day. It's your local.
Yeah, because I think like aesthetic-wise, I think back. So one of the pubs locally. So I will talk when I say one of the pubs locally. I can talk about many pubs. So I come from a place called Conwy, which is a walled town, a walled medieval town on the North Wales coast. These medieval walls are still standing, and the town centre is in the medieval walls. And these walls, you can walk from like one side to the other, go across the diameter of these walls in like, it takes you 5 minutes walk from like one gate to another, say. But within these walls, there are 6 pubs, 2 bars, a third like hotel bar, and also like the local like Legion, you know, British Legion place, which also basically functions as a public pub. There are like 11 various drinking.
Is there kind of like a famous mile that is in there? You know, because you Klasky with the kind of smaller areas.
It's a mile because you walk outside and the next pub's just across the street.
So high density.
So it's like a fabled like 10-minute walk or something
to get to all 6 pubs.
But yeah, you do have people just like you know, weave in and out, go to their various places.
Do you get much kind of territorialness around that? Like, do you have like in there? Do you have like people stick to their pub? Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, because there's a lot of variety in pubs. So the one I was about to talk about and compare the aesthetic to, it feels like every pub has like a different vibe to it.
Yeah.
So you have the Albion was the one I was about to talk to, which is like the oldest pub there. It's won awards actually, because this is the one these microbreweries own, and it's like the 50s still in there, you know. It's like a 50s style of pubs. They don't have any TV, they don't even have a jukebox or anything. It's all just like built like it was in the 50s. They even actually filmed some Peaky Blinders there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that's like the kind of like the old pub, you know, you go to if you want like an old pub kind of feel.
Yeah.
You've got the Melcote, which is the geezers pub, you know, the shitty kind of local one. That's the one I go to quite often. You've got Liverpool Arms, which is the bit pricier. That's like the sports one. You know, you'll go there. It's also out by the quay, so people go there for like a, you know, drink out on the quay and the sunshine, or like if there's a game on. You've got the Bluebell.
We have a Bluebell in our village as well. Yeah.
There you go. My stepdad used to run the Bluebell. Actually, that's like a kind of hipstery pub. You get like local acts. They have vegan burgers there, which is like a miracle in North Wales. There's the Georgian Dragon, which is another geezer's pub, but kind of shittier. The Bridge, which is now a pizza restaurant and bar. I forgot what it's called. The Erskine Gastropub. The Bank, which is a fancy kind of motley bar in the old bank, and you can go sit in the bowl. The Castle, which is the hotel bar, and the Legion, and that's like local Legion bar. So they're all very different pubs.
And you're modelling off the Albion.
Yeah, basing off the Albion, yeah. But not so much as stickler to the past. I'm willing to accept modernity. Yeah.
Well, Tim Curry walks in, and because of this old-timey feel, he immediately is drawn back to going to the pub when he was 6 years old with his father, not getting a pint himself, but getting a cheeky pie as they sat and played pool and regaled in stories. So he's already very much loving the place. Now, as any sane person would, Tim Curry walks into the pub, and the first thing he does is he goes up to the bar. There you are, you're scrubbing it down, you're making sure it's nice and pristine, you come in, so you're trying to make it look as good as possible. And on draft, Charles Michael, you have 2 beers and 2 ciders. What I'd like to know is which drinks they are and why. Why have you chosen them?
Right, well, start with the 2 beers first. Now, I feel with my beers, I have to make a concession with one of them. I will admit I'm not much of an ale person. I've kind of become more of an ale guy, but I'm not, that much of a fan of it. But people love their ales.
Yeah.
So I would have an ale there. I'd probably go with, a darker ale rather than a pale ale. I like a bit more flavour in my kind of alcohol. I like a stronger taste. So something like that. I don't think they do draft of Newcastle Brown, but that's a good ale. I'd love a Newcastle Brown.
You get brownie points for the northern references, so that's a positive.
Yeah, I'm really just playing into my northern host. Yeah. And wise beers, I'm a lager guy. I am, so I'd like a nice lager on tap. Had a few, could be something like a Red Stripe, Red Stripe's good on tap, or maybe a Pilsner. Pilsner's a good kind of gym, yeah. But a nice, refreshing lager, I reckon.
I think that's what you need. You need to balance the two, because, you can't have 2 proper heavy ales. And as well, I feel like lagers, I'm very much generalising here, I feel like lagers are drunk drinks and ales are meal drinks. So it means that you can play into both audiences. I know growing up it was carling, and it still will be till the day I die, because it goes down fairly easy and it's cheap. So it's good that you got the balancing of the 2. What about your ciders, Charles?
So on my ciders, I do like a fruity kind of cider,
I'm partial to it. On a summer's day, bit of ice, love it.
Nice, I love it. I've got some record lid cans in the fridge right now, and then I would, so one of those, a nice fruity cider on tap. They got a good one in the pear. They have nice
the Lily's ciders.
Yeah, those Lilies are quite nice, but they're I'm not sure about still ciders. They strike me as a bit odd.
The first time I had a Lily cider there, I genuinely thought it was off, and I nearly sent it back.
Yeah. I don't know, no, it's just supposed to come like this, yeah. And then for my proper cider, I've got a few options but I know what area I'd have it from. I would have a Cornish cider on tap, because there's a lot of good ciders from Cornwall. I've kind of lived in Cornwall a lot. My dad lives there. And they do very good ciders. There's one.
You talk about your apple and pears, quite dry.
Yeah, it's quite dry apple pears. They've got one called Rattler, which is quite good. I said that. It sounded so West Country.
Rattler. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, Rattler cider, that's a good one. It's a nice, crisp, fresh one. It's cloudy.
I'm sure it's very nice. It does sound like the type of thing that when you're in sixth form and you go down to the office and you get a 4-pack of Rattler. It's got kind of those K cider vibes. I'm sure it's not.
It's a funky. I'll show you. I'll send you a picture of the bottle. It's a funky bottle.
I love funky bottles. I'm really partial to a funky bottle. I'm very easily led like that. I love aesthetics.
Yeah. Okay. The picture's not working for some reason.
That's right. What I'll do is I'll bob it on the podcast when it goes up.
Oh yeah. There we go. Yeah. So I feel that would be my beers and my ciders. I think I like to have a rounded selection. You know.
No, I think that's good. You've got something for everyone there. You haven't said the guilty pleasure of the Strongbow dark fruit, which everyone seems to say. Oh yeah, I've got the picture now. Let's have a look. Yeah, I'm not gonna. That's exactly how I thought it would look. That is it screams hooch to me. It's
it does. It's slightly high class, don't worry. Yeah, no, I'm not much of a Strongbow guy. Battery acids.
It's just weak. It's I'm not a fan of it at all. But I get it because it's quite popular. But I like your options. I'm a big fan. I'm very interested in this Rattler. I want to get a bottle.
I think they do sell in Sainsbury's or somewhere.
To be fair, a lot of the Cornish ones are quite wide. I don't know if it's Cornish exactly, but Tribute, which is an ale from around there. I
think I've heard of it.
Maybe that's Devon ways, but that's sold all over the country. I'll have a look in the big Tesco's when I can. That's fantastic stuff. But Tim's not going to stop there. He also wants to have a bit of a look into your wines. When he was in his London days, he got quite into his wines, which is good because I know nothing about them. So you've only got a house white and a house red. Because you're short-stocked. It's a new pub, that's why you need the investment. So what I want to know, Charles, is what have you gone for your white, and what have you gone for your red, or rouge in French?
So I did a bit of thinking here. White wine. I decided to go.
Feel free to educate me, by the way, because I feel like you'll know way more than I will.
Okay. So for my wine, maybe it's a bit of a basic option, but I decided I want to have like a good Sauvignon Blanc.
God, you're so basic, Charles.
Like a proper kind of Bordeaux region, South France, like Sauvignon Blanc, because I like a real dry white wine. Like I like a wine dry enough to cut you. Like I want something that's like real crisp wine. I don't like so much of like these fruitier kind of white wines, but no, I like this crisp one. I reckon a Sauvignon Blanc is like a real like chilled one is so.
Any in particular, or just a kind of a generic?
Just a general. I don't really like have much of a brand loyalty on the wines. When I'm buying wines, basically, middle shelf is what I go for, and I think.
So it's not too shabby, not too expensive. You get that middle ground.
Yeah, I like the good middle ground. Like I pay like £9 for a bottle of wine. That seems fair enough.
Fair enough. Once again, like it's for a meal, so like you're not trying to get wankered off it. That's why I've really been trying to learn, especially with this podcast. I feel like I've gone on a journey from just drinking Carlsberg to get drunk to finally and Carling to finally actually enjoying beers for what they are.
And a lot of the times when I'm buying wine, I'm buying it more because I don't really buy wine to drink at home. But like if I'm going to cook with it, I will. I do. And I'm not the type of person who will buy like a shitty wine to cook with because I believe very strongly in like you should want to drink the wine you cook with. Otherwise, there's no point cooking with it. So I make risotto quite a lot, and that's why I quite like Sauvignon Blancs, I think, because I've gotten used to them. Because you want like a nice dry white for cooking a risotto, or you want like
I know, I'm excited for what you're going to come up with for your food, because I feel like there's going to be links here. But firstly, what have you gone for your red?
So my red is actually the kind of, I have opposite taste for my red than I do my white. I like a kind of a fruitier fruitier red even. So I was thinking like a Shiraz, which is kind of like a fruitier like Australian wine. It's quite good. I like that. There's some good. I think Oyster Bay is kind of like a bottle I frequently get. I think they're like a brand who do a good Shiraz. The foot one too. You get like the black bottle with like the foot on it.
Yes, no, I do actually know. Yeah.
I think they have got a decent Shiraz. So Shiraz.
Shiraz, fantastic. Well, Tim Curry is, he's got so many options now. He doesn't want to go for.
A lot of drinks. Yeah.
He's had a long day, and he's got. You know what? I just need something to take the edge off. I would like to know what 3 spirits you have on offer. I'm not going to have all 3, I just need to know what your options are. Now for this, Charles, you can either go for like types, or it can be 3 vodkas if you want, if it was 3 different types of vodka, or it could be different types and brands. It's completely up to you. So what have you gone for, Charles?
So I feel I would like to have different spirits, but like within, I have like 3. I think my thought here would be maybe stop me if I'm being too fancy here, but like I would say like 3 types of spirits, and then I would have like a selection. Because I think you got to have some variety. So the 3 spirits I have would be again. I'm going to make a concession here. I do not like gin, but many people like gin. Most of my friends like gin very much, and I feel if I want to bring my friend over, I should probably have some. Especially, my girlfriend, she loves a gin and tonic. Would not be happy if I didn't offer a gin and tonic, so I will have to have gin. I feel a vodka is a good one to have.
Yeah.
But because there's something to be said for, I think, a nice crisp vodka, like a good quality vodka. And also vodka is ingredient in some of my favourite cocktails, so.
Well, we'll be getting onto that quite shortly. Right. To be fair, I think of like gin and vodka. Sorry about my dogs; they'll be barking in the background. As like your ale and your lager, in the sense of like lagers for getting drunk, vodkas for getting drunk, and like gin's more the sophisticated drink.
Yeah, you can do like a lot of good. So
what's your final?
And my preferred spirit of choice, I'm a big bourbon guy.
I knew it was coming, yeah.
I like whiskies, but I'm more of a bourbon guy than a Scotch guy. Scotch can get a bit too smoky for me, and I like a nice sweet bourbon.
So, any bourbon in particular?
What do I have at the moment? I have Buffalo Trace at the moment, but I think my preferred whiskey, and I spent a bit of money on this a couple months ago actually, I got a Maker's Mark bourbon, which I think is quite good, and it's like, if you see the bottle, they're the ones that are like sealed in red wax.
Yes. That's proper bougie. I like it.
Yeah, they're nice. That's a nice bourbon, like one that's, got sweetness to it.
Yeah. Well, so you've got all those options, and Tim Curry, he's about to go for the Rattler, but as he's about to, he notices behind the three spirits you have on the shelf, there's a little poster, Charles, and on that poster, covered in glitter and Comic Sans and all the things that make a great poster, is the signature cocktail for your pub. Now, this can be used with any ingredients. It can be made up, it can be real, it's whatever you want, but it's signature to your pub. What is it and what's it called?
Gotta think about this.
Decisions.
Yeah, because I'm making my own cocktail. I reckon, as I said, I'm a bourbon guy, so I would probably do a bourbon cocktail. I think what I would do is some kind of take on an old-fashioned, because I've seen so many. You can do, considering all an old-fashioned is bourbon, bitters, and sugar. You can do a lot of variation.
Yeah.
Like I make it at home, and actually I make my own. I have a bottle of simple syrup I've made myself that I do instead of sugar. You can do a lot of variations there. So I reckon I'd do like a nice, good old fashioned, but think on like making it different. I think you could do some funky stuff with that. So I would need to put more thought, I think, into what type of old-fashioned. But I would strive out there to make a real good old-fashioned. I saw one guy on YouTube actually do like a bacon old-fashioned, and he like infused bacon smoke into his whiskey.
Right.
Yeah. So,
that's pretty wacky. I like that. That's quite out there.
Yeah. So something like that. What would I call it? I feel like relating it to me and my work, I would want my alcohol to take you on a journey. So maybe call it the Odyssey.
Oh, hello. I like it. It's spectral. I like it. It's very nice indeed.
For our dear listeners at home again, the one play I've ever written was an adaptation of the Odyssey, and as such, it has formed a. I talk about it probably too much.
To be fair, I would have loved it there if you'd said the only play I've ever written is the Odyssey. And it's like,
so
you're the one.
I'm surprisingly old.
Fantastic. I think, as alluring as the Odyssey sounds, Tim Curry has to go for the Rattler, because once again, going back to when he was there, he was 6 years old and his dad was playing pool with his mates, having a pie, and then out of the corner of the room, there was a table being cleared, and there was a little glass with a little bit of drink in it, and he had a sip. First alcoholic drink he had, and wow, it was a Rattler. Of course it was a Rattler.
I'm not sure the brand's that old, but...
It is in our world, Charles. It is in our world. So he takes his Rattler.
Tim Curry.
He sits down. He just enjoys he enjoys what's going on. He enjoys the atmosphere that you've created. And after 20 minutes or so, he's onto his second Rattler. He calls you over, and he goes, "Well, hello, Charles. Great to see you. I'm not very good at Tim Curry, as you can probably tell. I just went for RP, and I was hoping for the best."
Oh, Charles, good to see.
I think you were close to the mark. But yeah, and he's like, "Very good to see you, and it's lovely what you're doing here. It's great. But there's only one thing I'm not sure on. I'm going to start with the accent. It's the atmosphere. I'm feeling something good, but I feel like I need to know about what you want in a pub, so that I can understand what you're trying to create. And the best way I know of doing that that works with the questions you were previously given, is by asking you what your best pub experience was. Because maybe if I can understand that, I can understand what you're trying to do with this place. So, Charles, what's your best pub experience and why?
So, I think about this one, and I think I have like two. I'll talk about one's like a very kind of basic one. We always, I think this was not last Christmas, but the Christmas before that. Obviously, this past Christmas, I was supposed to go home to my mum's for Christmas, and basically the day before I was gonna be picked up, the Tier 4 got announced, and that was cut off. So the memory for that sits with me. It was I went to spent Christmas at my mum's, and my Mia came to stay for Christmas with my girlfriend. It's the first time she kind of gone to stay at my parents with me. First time we went to someone else's parents for Christmas. And, I remember we have a tradition in my mum's side of the family where we always go to the pub on Christmas Christmas Day.
Oh,
we
Christmas
go to the
Day.
pub first. You go to the open presents, and you go to the pub, and then you come back and start doing Christmas dinner and stuff. So that's what we did. We went to the pub, and it was me, Mia, we met up with my stepdad's stepchildren, who just lived down the road with us, and they had their brand new baby there. We had the dogs with us, because we're in the Albion, actually, dog-friendly pub. It's just all of us, all kind of various parts of the family, Mia there too, and meeting people. And just one of those really nice kind of times, when you're with family. That's all right. And then the other one I had, which is quite a bit different, is the time when a Hungarian supermodel came on to me in the pub in Conway.
So the juxtaposition there was absolutely perfect. It was this beautiful memory of being with family on Christmas Day with the dog and the newborn, and then this Hungarian model.
Yeah, so I was in this is Conway, Conway isn't big,
Conway sounds amazing, there's so much going on.
It's getting more bougie, you get more and more kind of tourists. It's actually apparently one of the most popular tourist destinations for Japan. Tourists in the world, it's paired with this big old imperial Japanese castle. I don't know. Anyway, but we don't get many people coming through. At least not in the summer. Outside of the summer, not many tourists in Conway. It's kind of a bit of a backwater, I suppose, in a way. But I was just in the pub randomly with my good mate, and we were in this geezer's pub, and the male coach, local kind of shitty pub, and we just kind of chatting to this couple, and they were these two Hungarian people who were living in London and decided to come up on a holiday to North Wales, and they were staring at a tiny little B&B in a tiny little town nearby, and they were just kind of this guy was buying us vodka. And he was just buying us straight vodka. We were all just drinking straight vodka. And, didn't want to be rude, so I was drinking straight vodka. And he was empathetically telling us that she was his girlfriend. And she would say in front of him as he was right there, she was like, no, we're not a couple. I was like, okay. Don't know. It's like that whole thing where you go, there are two heads. One of us lies. One of us tells the truth. So I was but neither of them seemed fazed by the other. So that was an interesting situation. But this woman started telling us. I was only 19 or so. This is first year uni. And this woman was telling us, and she pulled up the pictures to prove that she had been a runner-up for Miss Hungary. And then she just and she was very much honest to God, probably stronger than anyone. One of the strongest times anyone has ever come on to me. I was big on. I was kind of in a relationship with her, so I was that's very kind of you, but I couldn't respond really, but
it was almost showing you the runner-ups was showing you her CV. It was no, I can't come on to you. I am a model. No, look, this is what you could be working with.
And her not boyfriend / boyfriend was there, but he was talking. My friend, God bless him, had diverted him the quasi boyfriend. But my ego for that was stroked for the next year, months.
It is hard to pick between beautiful family memories and that like this.
Yeah.
The line is.
So that's what it is. So like a place you can bring. That'll be what the pub's like. A place you can bring your family, but you can also hook up with Eastern European supermodels. Considering some social comments, they're not like male brides or anything. Don't worry.
Yeah. That was.
Everyone's there free relationship.
There is no coercion in this pub. That is fantastic. That's better than I ever expected. That is very good. Best pub experiences, both of them. And Tim Curry, as very much a socialite, as a man of many different forays into many different things, I think is very much a fan. So it's brilliant. As you're about to go, he just asks you for your food menu. Now this I'm very excited for, Charles. You have 3 courses, so you have 3 meals. It can either be a starter, a main, a dessert, or it can be 3 mains, or it could be 2 desserts and a main. It can be whatever you want, but it has to be 3 things. Now, interesting fact about Tim Curry. When he was working on the Rocky Horror Show, this super fan, they throw things on stage.
Yes,
during...
I went with Louis, actually, to my...
Did you? Oh, I heard about that. Was it good? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was good, yeah. Very nice.
Well, in the Time Warp, the very famous song, someone actually threw a real-life, fully functioning time machine at Tim Curry, and he was like, well, this is one thing I might keep. So he did keep it, and what that means is, Charles, is for your 3 meals, if you would like, you can go back in time for specific meals throughout your life. Now, you don't have to use this feature, but the feature's there if you want it. So, yes, you've got 3 meals from the past or the present. What are you going for, Charles?
Okay. Well, I think my first and easiest option is, as you've heard me talk about this before, but I make a very good gumbo. For the people who don't know what gumbo is, it is like a stew. It's kind of like a stew from kind of New Orleans area, kind of like Cajun food, and it's very good. It's just kind of oil, roux, vegetables in there, meat, chicken, and I make it, and it's the best thing I make. It's incredible. I'm bragging here. It's so good. It's delicious.
No, you got to back yourself here. You're trying to serve it in a pub. It has to be good quality.
It's so easy to mess up too, because you've got to spend 45 minutes slowly mixing flour and oil together and bringing it up to heat so it doesn't burn. Because it's easy to make a butter and flour roux. Trying to make an oil and flour roux, that's a bitch.
I mean, I wish I knew how to cook anything but pasta, and most of the time I can't do that very well. So I'm completely enthralled by this whole gumbo experience.
Nice. I'm glad. So yeah, gumbo, and I feel like that's a good, because I did put a bit of thought into this question. I feel the type of cause I'm going to do 3 mains here, and I feel the type of food you want in the pub is fairly you want fairly hearty stuff. Yes,
I think hearty's the right word. Definitely, you want stuff that's stodge a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, you want soak up that alcohol. I reckon gumbo good at that. And I'm gonna. Now you mentioned my time machine, I have opened my horizons a bit more. I can think about where I am. And one of the first times I was in London, I haven't been to London much. I think this was for one of my birthdays when I was dating Mia, and we went down to London to watch Les Mis. We stopped off at a place in London called the Breakfast Club, and I think they have a few locations in London. I don't think they do them anymore. And I went there, I don't think they do them anymore. And last time I went there, they were still doing it, but the one I had wasn't as good. But the first time I went, I had some huevos rancheros at this place, which is translates to farmer's eggs. It's basically tortillas and eggs and salsa and sausage and a ton of stuff all together, and I had it there, and that was the best damn breakfast I've ever had in my life. Nothing has ever come close to riding that high once again. They had sausage in there, it's salsas and I think it's chili sauce.
So you'd literally go back to that day and bring that dish with you.
I would dish, and I would kidnap the chef so I could, I would need to either come up. If I have a time machine, maybe I have a cloning machine.
Yeah,
that's probably not a huge technology jump. But yeah, I would repeatedly. That would be one of the meals there.
I love how we very quickly went from no coercion in the pub to kidnapping the chef from the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, it's alright. It's only one guy. So
it's fine, and he'd love it. The last meal.
Yes, there's another meal, isn't there? I have to think here. Do you know what? I'm going to actually divert from my earlier promise, and I reckon, because we want to represent everyone in the pub, so I think I want to do I think a burger option would be a good idea.
Yeah, I think in a pub, definitely.
Yeah, like a real good quality, like a chuck and brisket burger, some good cuts in there, some good fries, some chunky boys, because I like a chunky fry rather than those thin fries.
Weedy bastards.
Also, and then we could offer a vegan, because you can offer, these great vegan burger options these days, like Moving Mountains or whatever.
Yeah.
You can do good, vegan burgers too, so...
Well, I think out of the three, our boy Curry is going to go for the breakfast because he was quite enthralled by the story behind it. So you're going off to get that, and you come over, you hand over the food, and you notice that Tim Curry's foot is tapping, and he's got a bit of rhythm to him. And he turns to you and he goes, "God, I bloody love this song now. Here's another little thing." I know you said there were no jukeboxes, but sorry, mate, there is. There's a single...
I think there can be jukeboxes in the pub. As I said, if you want to modernise it. But yes, sorry, you were saying music.
There's a single jukebox, and because it's so new, you haven't had time to get much music on that. All that you've got on there is one album. What I would like to know is what album would be perfect for your pub, and what song in particular is Tim Curry having a nice little groove to?
So I will preemptively say I'm not someone who listens to much music. I listen to kind of specific things. I listen to a lot of video game soundtracks, but I don't think video game soundtracks are a good pub thing you make. But I think I was thinking about this, and I think I wanted something kind of groovy, a bit like something I think a bit fast tempoed and stuff. So
I think it sets the mood. But I had someone on this who said they wanted just jazz. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be a set album. It's just a kind of type of music.
Yes. Yeah, that's fair. I was thinking, actually, I did think of a specific band I quite like, and I would probably have some music from Gogol Bordello.
I like it.
A band I quite like. They are a gypsy punk rock band.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a bunch of fun, various music. The favourite song I think I have that might be playing right now would be Start Wearing Purple. That's a good one.
And that's the one Tim Curry's getting behind, yeah?
Yeah. They're good. They're kind of crazy, fun music. And I think Tim Curry would certainly be up to that. Yeah.
Well, you drop off the food, you go back to the bar. You're secretly a bit confident because he seems to be enjoying himself. And let's say another hour passes. He's had a couple more rattlers. He's finished his food. He's having a great time, but. He fancies doing something. He fancies, actually doing something, like what you would do in a pub. And so he shouts to her from the bar, and he says this exactly, Charles. He says, "Charles, what game/activity do you have?"
What game/activity I have? Oh, so maybe this is cheeky and cheating a bit, but
go for it.
Because I don't think I have a specific kind of type. Because I think I have a piece of equipment that you can do multiple activities with. And I would have a stage, and I would have just stuff set up there for people to perform, so speakers and a mic and stuff, the type of place where you can do karaoke, or have an open mic night, or invite some local bands in to perform.
So would you, if you could have one night a week, what would you have? So if you could have a signature night, what would the signature night be?
I would have local bands playing. Yeah, that's what I'd do.
I think that goes very much with the kind of community feel you're instilling into the pub.
Yeah, I think that's important. Give people a chance. Open mic night, let acts come in and kind of perform freely.
I like that a lot, and so does Tim Curry, as a singer and actor himself.
Yeah, maybe he can go up and do some time warp.
Absolutely, that's what he said. He's watching out because he doesn't want to get hit in the head with a time machine again. But he's loving it. He's having a great time. Now, some more time passes. We're getting quite late into the night now, and. Suddenly one of your bar staff runs in and shouts, "Tim Curry, your Bugatti Veyron's getting towed." So he rushes up the stairs, he talks to the ticket officer, he gets a ticket and they leave it. That's really not important. But what happens after is that he turns around to walk back into the pub. And what he didn't notice on his way in was a little blackboard. Now, I'm sure you know, Charles, pubs love to put a cheeky little message on their blackboards. What I would like to know is what is the message you have on yours, and why is Tim Curry happy about it?
See, my problem here, Alex, is that I am only spontaneously funny. I think if I overthink my comedies,
then it just breaks down.
It does. It does break down.
Well, see, that's where Charles, I'm the opposite in that I'm not funny either way. So you've got you got one up on me there. So at least you got something. So you could just.
If you're not funny either way, then my sense of humour must be terrible because I'm laughing. So really, you're sinking both of us.
Yeah, we're slowly decreasing, and there's still just a blackboard out there.
Whatever is on the sign is probably a poor attempt at some sort of pun.
Yes, gotta be.
Curry has come inside, and he's told me it's good, but I can sense in his eyes that he's just trying to make me feel better. You know?
Yeah. Let us begin. Yeah.
That was good. Oh shit. Okay. This is what I get for going on a podcast with a comedian. I just get one up.
No, I'm saying you could use that. I think that would work. I think Curry would enjoy it if no one else would.
I enjoyed it.
So he comes back and he's going, those boys, God, they're a laugh a minute. And he sits back down his table and he calls you over, and you do feel now, Charles, that it's the big moment, he's assessed everything, he's now going to have the big talk with you. And he sits you down and he goes, very good pun work out there, I enjoyed that. To be honest, I've had a very, very enjoyable evening. But I've got a little rule, you see. When I work with other people, when I get business partners, I like to have a bit on them. Not anything too major, but something that just means that, they're not going to do me over because I know this information. Yeah. What I want is a little bit of an embarrassing pub story from you, if you have one. You might be whiter than white, so maybe you don't, but I'd like to just know that I can trust you. So, Charles Michael, what's your most embarrassing pub experience?
I'd say, oh no, I think I have one, yeah. So again, this was kind of when I was in earlier years at uni and returning home, and I was with a friend of mine. And his friend of mine, nice guy usually, but he's also surprisingly good at getting into conflicts in pubs. He just, he doesn't like to, not the type of guy who will ever back down in his life.
Yeah.
So I was on time in this pub, and as I said, pubs in Coventry are quite local. And in this pub we saw two of our teachers from school, and they were teachers who'd liked us. We were hanging out with them. I think it was our maths teacher and the PE one, so I didn't know as well, but I knew the maths teacher quite well. Also there was, I think, one of the trainee teachers for our school. I didn't know him. I think he joined just after we'd left, but we were chatting away. But basically, it got to a point where I think I was getting a bit drunk. I think I said something that accidentally, and I did not mean to. I did rarely mean to offend people. I think quite upset this other trainee teacher. So I suppose this is kind of a second-hand embarrassing story, because I was about to defuse the situation, and my dear friend leapt to my defence, and he was very you what? Do you want to go? And he was quite drunk too, and basically, we almost got in very close to getting an all-out brawl with, in front of two of our fairly light teachers from back in school. So we had to kind of diffuse that one. But no, it wasn't so bad. There was a look of disappointment in the eyes, even though I don't think I did much of anything wrong.
Just a misunderstanding.
It's not good to get in a almost bar brawl with teachers who you first met when you were 11.
Yeah, well, I relate to that story a lot, Charles Michael, as my father was a teacher at my own school.
Oh,
and
God.
So I have I could literally list for about 3 hours all of the awkward encounters I've had with teachers outside and inside of school, including the time when my dad stood on a bench and shouted at my whole year group in front of everyone, and I hid behind the tallest boy in the year. Because I was very small back then, still am, but we're working on it. Tim Curry nods, he smiles, he winks, he goes, you know what, Charles, that's just what I needed. I feel like I can trust you now, I feel like we can go forward in our relationship. I'm gonna
mail on me.
Yeah, basically. That's all healthy business relationships. You know what? I'm in. I'm invested. You can keep this pub going. You can make it bigger than ever. You've got everything you need. I'm happy to be on board. Now, you've done so bloody well that he's going to give you a cheeky little signing on bonus. And that cheeky little signing on bonus is, and you get ready for some incredible thought out podcasting here, Charles. He's going to let you use the time machine that we have already established he has, and all of his many resources to get you a night in your pub with 5 people. It can be anyone, dead or alive, friend or foe, celebrity or run-of-the-mill fella. It can be anyone you fancy. And because it's a time machine, the brilliant thing is, as soon as Tim Curry walks out that door, all 5 of them walk straight in. What I'd like to know is, who are they? And what do you think is their go-to drink?
Okay. This is a very good question. So I would like. I'm going to start kind of easy and modern day Google. I would love to invite in one of my favourite actors. I think I'd love to bring in Keanu Reeves.
Lovely stuff.
Who I very much like, and I feel he's a very interesting person, so he'd be a good addition. I feel Keanu Reeves is a bourbon drinker. That's what he strikes me. It's just a nice, simple bourbon on the rocks,
yeah.
You know? And I think because it's like a very chill atmosphere in the pub, you quite enjoy it, and I think he's quite he seems to be, not that I know, no parasocial relationships here, but he seems to be a fairly, person who keeps to himself.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Who else on my time?
And what do you reckon he'll drink?
Keanu. Some bourbon, I reckon.
Some bourbon.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff.
Who else am I inviting in? Because the time machine opens up some...
So many options, yeah.
Do you know what? I'm going to bend the rules a little bit here. I'm going to imagine the time machine can take me across the multiverse, too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to snag one fictional character. I'm going to snag in Robert Baratheon.
Yes, hello. Now you speak my language.
King of the Seven Kingdoms in Game of Thrones. He's a big drinker type of guy, and he likes to have hearty food too. So I reckon I could come in, give him lots of hearty food, and when he starts kind of screaming at whatever the hell a jukebox is, and demanding those evil ghosts go out, I reckon he'd really get on in there. And I think following on from that, I think kind of pulling up people from history. This isn't one specific person, but rather a vibe of person.
Okay, I like it.
And there are those there's a lot of these, of 17th century paintings of old monks sipping the alcohol. I would like
at the breweries, yeah.
Yeah, I would have one of those monks.
I love that. Let's call him John. You're gonna have John the monk.
John. And he's filling in. I would like John to be the type of guy who's the irreverent priest. That kind of trope. And he's he's a priest, but he's there to have a bit of a good time or get a bit tipsy. I reckon that could be quite fun. I think it's always good to have an irreverent.
No, I agree. I think that's you've got 2 great options there. I feel like they'll add a lot to festivities. For Robert and John, our monk, what do you reckon they'll drink?
Second, John is going to be partial to a nice cider, especially the fruity cider, I think, because that will be new to him, and if he would be ooh. Like Homer Simpson at some donut.
Yeah.
And Robert Baratheon, I think, is a big hearty ale of that dark ale.
Yeah, I agree.
You need to get one of those full 5-pint glasses.
Yeah, the flagon.
A horn.
Yeah.
For him to drink out of.
And then your last 2. I like that. I might steal that for future podcasts. You can have one fictional character. I think that's a good addition.
Well, there we go. I'm glad we're evolving. I should invite my girlfriend. I think maybe that's a bit wet, but I would like her to see my pub and be proud
And you've literally got the gin in. So, like, you know, there are reasons behind this, exactly.
And, mood and joint tonic. And finally, I think, as someone both Mia would like to speak to and me, I would have Gillian Anderson.
Oh, hello,
like
fantastic.
A lovely woman who I'd love to have a nice conversation with, too.
I need to understand. Is that the one from Sex Education?
Yes.
Yes. I need to know if she's English or American, because that has been hurting my brain. I'd always thought she was English, and apparently she's American.
Which one are you guessing? I can tell you right now.
I'm pretty sure she was born in America, which does upset me, because I always thought she was like a big
Chicago.
Chicago, really?
I just kind of Wikipedia to see what sort of like stuff she was in. Yeah. Speaking of sex education, did you know someone who did Guild Drama is in that?
Yes, no, I did. Yeah, the one in season 2.
Yes.
Who's friends with not Effie? I've forgotten all the characters, to be honest. I haven't seen it in bloody ages.
Effie. It's not Skip.
No. Similar vibes, but alas not.
But yeah, Gillian Anderson, and I feel she seems like a gin and tonic lady too.
Yeah. Well, you have this evening, and it's absolutely fantastic. Mia is enamoured by Gillian or Gillen or whatever how it's pronounced. Robert and the priest are off their nut. Keanu's just kind of sat back quite mysterious. You and him can have like a nice deep chat, and it's just the best night ever. And as the evening comes to an end, John the monk, he stands up, quite wavy, and he points at you and he goes, yeah, he's off his nut, bless him, and he points at you and he goes, "Oi, what you drinking?" So, to finish the podcast, Charles, if you could have one alcoholic drink in this very moment, what would it be?
I'd be having a nice crisp cider, I reckon.
Charles Michael, you've done it. You've reignited my love of drinking and food. And Tim Curry, actually. All three. You did the big three.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute joy. Thank you so much, Charles. I've very much enjoyed doing this again, and I'm glad to be going forward with it. Yeah, a couple of thank yous if you don't mind just waiting around for a second. First one to Sam Nason for the graphic. Fantastic graphic, Sam. Jack Pethram, that jingle will haunt me until the day I die, so thank you very much for that. 3, to all of our big fans. Do you want to say hello to all the fans, Charles?
Yes, hello, fans. I need to start listening myself, actually, because I hadn't realised you'd started this yet, so I need to...
Don't worry, Charles, you don't.
No, I'm going to. I'm interested. I want to hear other people, yeah.
And finally, it's a bit of a cheeky one. It's back to you, Charles. Honestly, it's been such a lovely time to catch up, and it's been a lovely conversation. So thank you. Thank everyone for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Build Pub Podcast.